What's good, you guys? Daniel Cruz here, back with another episode of Cook with Cruz. As always, we're going to be breaking down another beat today. This one was another one upon request. It's called Bedtime Stories. So that's the one we're going to be breaking down today if you've heard it already. With that being said, I appreciate all the suggestions you guys are leaving me. I've been writing a list, keeping track of the ones I still need to do. So please keep leaving me comments under beats you want to see broken down, and I will definitely make an episode on them. And as always, before we jump into the video here, if you could please leave a thumbs up, really helps me out with the series here. It keeps it going. Also, make sure you're subscribed with the notifications on so you don't miss these videos every Sunday. That also is a huge help to the series, so I would greatly appreciate if you do so. Now, once we have all of those things done, which probably should have taken you like 2 seconds, let's jump in and see how Bedtime Stories was made. Okay, so starting the beat off, we had a sample by King Benjamin. Shout out to him for being the inspiration on the beat here. So let's go over the raw file to see what he made, and then we'll go into what I did to the sample and, of course, into the beat. So, thought that was pretty dope. Of course, the chords is what caught my ear, and I'm only gonna really use that first section of the sample there. That's all I really needed. So I basically just chopped that first section out. So now for what I did to the sample, I did slow it down a bit. The original sample was in 99 BPM. I'm in 190, which is basically 95 BPM. So slowed it down a little bit. Also pitched it up a few cents here. And then if we look into the mixer, we have some EQ, a little bit of reverb, guitar rig using the 3D Mangler preset. Only have a little bit on, which is key here. If you know guitar rig, their effects can be pretty overwhelming, so only have it turned up just a little bit. We also have some Pan Man to create a nice stereo effect. And this is a low pass filter, which will automate in and out on the pre-hook, which we'll see later in the video here. But those are the effects and everything that I put onto the sample. So now if we jump into the intro of the beat, I actually took our sample and reversed it just for the intro. I thought it sounded pretty cool. And then as you can see, I did cut out the fourth or second bar here, the end. So as far as what the sample sounds like in the intro, this is what we're working with. And playing alongside our sample for the intro, I do have a reversed piano that I put in. So I did mention I liked the chords in the sample. So all I did was play out the chords and reverse them. So for this sample, we only have just 3 chords playing here, and they sound a little like this. So of course I rendered that into audio and just reversed them. I also threw some effects onto the chord as well. We've got Echo Melt 2 and a little bit of reverb as well. In addition to the chords, I did kind of hear like a little embellishing melody with the piano. So I played that out as well and reversed it as well. Same effects and everything. So that's going to layer on top of our reversed chords. And also, as you can see here, I did cut out some of the ends on the chords when I did reverse them. And I do make these cuts back and forth to kind of give room for both the piano and then the sample so they can kind of play in harmony at the same time. But this is what our reverse piano is going to sound like. So altogether, that's what our intro is. And then for the next section, we're going to move into kind of like an extended intro or a pre-hook. And then after that, we'll drop into the verse. But moving on into it, we're gonna have our main sample back. This is playing forward now, so it's no longer reversed. Also have no cuts for it. Here's also our piano, which we had in the intro as well. I'm also going to layer up the chords in the sample with a pad, and that pad is an Omnisphere. We got monophonic velo filter pad 1, and for our effects we got isotope vinyl, some reverb, and Echo Boy Jr., just a little bit of delay. And I have the feedback all the way turned down, so when we hit that delay, it's only gonna hit one time instead of dragging out. So the delay shouldn't be overwhelming with that turned down. But as I mentioned, we're just gonna be playing the chords, so this is what the pad's gonna sound like. So there goes our pad. It actually sounds pretty similar to the pad in the actual sample, so it'll kind of thicken it up. I'm also going to have a sustaining bass here. So for that, I am using Digi Wave Shaper Bass 1. Also going to have a little bass slide in here as well. And I'm just hitting the root notes of our chords here, nothing crazy. And into the mixer for our bass, we just threw on some Decapitator Roll Off the Highs preset. And to top everything off for this section, I do have a drum loop I throw in there to kind of sit in the background. So that is this clip right here. And for that, I did throw on a flanger, a little bit of reverb, and some EQ cutting out the highs on it. So altogether, this is what our pre-hook going into the verse is going to sound like. So now going into the verse, if we look at our sample here, I did cut a lot out. Of course, as you know, especially if you see my videos, for the verse, I'm going to open it up for the artist. We definitely want some breathing room in there. I don't want the extended sample throughout the whole thing. So I made cuts where I felt it sounded good. It's also going to play well with our piano. We're going to kind of go back and forth between those two instruments so they aren't, fighting for space. So for right now, I'm going to just show what the sample sounds like with the piano. So as far as our melodies go, we can kind of hear what we're working with. So that's what our piano and sample is going to sound like. In addition to that, we do keep our pad, which I just showed you. So that's going to stay here. We're going to also add a different bass here. As you can see, it's not as sustained as our pre-hook or extended intro here. Once again, this is going to kind of leave the beat open a bit. I'm actually going to use a whole different patch for this bass. It's Oscar Bass 3. And this is what it's going to sound like. Again, just hitting the root notes. And then for some drums, I just start out with a snap here. So I'll go ahead and start off showing you the snap. And then as the verse develops in the next section, this is where all the drums come in. So I'll do that next. But for now, let's just check out our simple snap we got just to get a rhythm going. So altogether, this is how we're coming into the verse. So now moving on to the next part of the verse. Nothing's going to change for our instruments, and this is where pretty much all the drums are going to come in. So let's go over that now. So in addition to our snap, we're going to have our kick. Here's our close tap pattern. This is a reverberated snap, which I kind of use as an accent. See, we layered two together there. Open hat. We have a cymbal. Tambourine, which we do have in Omnisphere here. It's kind of one of my favorite patches. Granular tambourine. We have kind of like an effects chant here. Then I have like a low crash here, which I kind of tuned down. This is another close tap pattern, but I'm going to specifically use this for the hook. So this won't play right now during the verse, but it will come in on the hook. And for the playlist, I do have this percussive loop here. Adds a nice effect in the background. So now all together, let's hear what our drums sound like. And now moving on to kind of the actual pre-hook of the beat here. We're going to thin out a lot of stuff, as you can see here. We're going to have our extended sample, piano, our pad, and then I do have this kind of piano that I just kind of had fun with and just threw in there. So for that piano, we're rocking Keyscape LA Custom C7 Cinematic, rocking some reverb and a little bit of EQ, SciQ I use for it for the effects. But either way, this is what that piano part is going to sound like. So that was just a cool little part I had fun with and threw in there. And then after that, this is where our big drop is going to be for the hook. So looking into it, we're going to sustain everything out still with our bass and our sample. We got our piano and our pad still here, as well as all the drums that we already went over. And then here's where that closed hat is going to come in that didn't play for the verse that I already showed you. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole beat. So I'll go ahead and run it from the end of the pre-hook into the hook. And then we're just going to rinse and repeat into the second verse. So yeah, there goes the whole beat for Bedtime Stories broken down. Hope you guys enjoyed today's breakdown. Leave me some questions in the comments if you have any questions on anything I did today. While you're at it, leave me some more comments on beats that you like of mine that you want to see broken down. 100% we'll make an episode on that. If this is also your first time hearing the beat, Let me know what you think of the beat in the comments. I greatly appreciate your feedback. And if you haven't already, please leave a thumbs up on the video. It definitely helps the series out a lot. And make sure you're subscribed, because I will be back next Sunday with another video breaking down another beat. But anyways, that is all from me today. I will see you guys next Sunday. I'm out. Peace.